Blackstone Audio presents Spitting Devil by Brian Freeman. This book is read by Joe Barrett. As Alison Malville dreamed, black ants marched over her body. Like an army of intimate invaders, they sought out the puckered folds on the buttons of her nightshirt and trooped relentlessly across the silk onto her damp skin. From her pillow, they climbed through the thick forest of her red hair, clung to her eyelashes, and explored the orifices on her face. She tasted them on her tongue. She inhaled and exhaled them through her nose. She drowned them in her tears as she cried. Unable to move, she screamed soundlessly as thousands of ants mounted her feet, her thighs, her torso, and her neck, violating the crevices between her limbs. "Wake up," her brain told her. "Wake up!" Alison flew upward in bed. Awake, she could still feel the ants crawling on her body, and she tore at her clothes, popping buttons as she stripped naked. She scrambled out of the tangled sheets and threw herself against the wall, rubbing and slapping her skin as if she could kill them. Finally, exhausted and sobbing, her chest hammering, she sank to the floor and hugged her knees. Again. It had happened again. She dreamed of the ants almost every night now. When she closed her eyes, there they were, waiting to slip out through the walls. They had even begun to march from her sleep into her waking life. She couldn't escape them. Wherever she went in the house, she heard them massing in the ceiling, watching her like spies. Alison understood what was happening to her. It wasn't about the ants at all. It was about her husband. He was driving her into madness. As she sat on the floor, she stared at the glowing clock on her nightstand. The time said 6 o'clock. There was no light through the curtains, but it would be morning soon, and she was already late. She'd failed. She'd meant to stay awake, to listen, to see what Michael did. But sometime after midnight, her eyes had blinked shut despite 3 cups of caffeinated tea. She'd slept heavily. The ants had come back. Alison got to her feet in a rush. Gooseflesh pebbled her bare skin. She lifted a robe off the hook on the back of the closet door and slipped her arms inside the sleeves and tied it at her waist. She removed the chair wedged against the doorknob, unlocked the bedroom door, and peered down the upstairs hallway, which was dark and quiet. She smelled something odd in the stale air, blowing through the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?